Good afternoon. Our program will begin in 5 minutes. Satellite and Via Satellite Magazine are pleased to present the Keynote and Awards presentation. Please welcome back Satellite Executive Chairman Jeffrey Hill.
Hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to our annual Wednesday Awards Luncheon hosted by Via Satellite Magazine. Thank you all so much for joining us here. In a moment, we will announce the winner of our Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Contest, which took place yesterday in our exhibit hall, and the winners of Via Satellite's esteemed Executive of the Year and Technology of the Year Awards for 2023. Before the awards, we present our guest of honor, our annual Government Military Forum keynote speaker, hosted in partnership with the Satellite Industry Association, or SIA. The Satellite team and I are honored to work with SIA to produce our Government Military Forum, which brings thought leaders in policy, decision makers in the military, and industry partners together for insightful discussions on satellite technology for government end users. SIA is led by President Tom Strout, who has served the satellite industry as its leading champion on the Hill and abroad for the past decade. Please join me in welcoming SIA President Tom Strout to the stage to introduce this afternoon's keynote speaker.
Thank you, Jeff. On behalf of SIA, I'd like to start by thanking Access Intelligence for our continued partnership. It is my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union. For more than 3 decades, Ms. Bogdan-Martin has dedicated herself to promoting international telecommunications policy. In 2022, she was elected by the ITU as Secretary General. Not only is she the first woman to hold this position, she won by an unprecedented margin with resounding support of members from around the world. Throughout her entire career, Doreen has been committed to the advancement of global internet connectivity and bridging the digital divide for the nearly 3 billion plus persons around the globe unconnected to the web. In addition to connecting the unconnected, Ms. Bogdan-Martin has consistently emphasized the need for digital transformation to achieve economic prosperity, job creation, skills development, gender equality, and socioeconomic inclusion, as well as to reduce climate impact and save lives. Doreen has also long been a champion of satellite interests, beginning when she first represented the U.S. Department of Commerce on satellite policy at Intelsat, when it was still a treaty-based organization. Now, as Secretary General of the ITU, she recognizes the transformation underway in space and the importance of partnering with the satellite industry to enable the space future we all imagine. The renaissance of innovation and investment in space services that we're all seeing is integral to the central goals of the UN, extending broadband connectivity, providing critical safety communications, enabling climate monitoring, and supporting interplanetary exploration. The global commitment to growing the space economy was evident at the recent ITU World Radio Conference, which prioritized spectrum and new opportunities for satellite services. We were very honored to have her join us today. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed keynote speaker for 2024, ITU Secretary General Doreen Bogdan-Martin.
Thank you so much, Tom, for that kind introduction, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly an honor to be here with all of you today and to be able to celebrate with you the stellar achievements of the satellite industry. I want to start by congratulating the incredible nominees to the Via Satellite Magazine Annual Awards, as well as those that have been nominated for the Startup Space Competition 2024. As Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union, I'm so proud to be part of an innovative and vibrant ecosystem. The ITU is the United Nations agency that focuses on radio communications, standardization, and digital development. Everything that makes global communications possible. We are also the only UN agency that the private sector participates in our work very, very actively. In addition to our 193 member countries, we've actually just passed an important milestone of having more than 1,000 sector members, as we call them. Many of them include satellite operators, many of them here today, new space companies from established firms to startups, as well as regulatory bodies and space agencies. All these innovators contribute to ITU's mission to connect the world. And that's a big part of why I'm so excited to be here today. Another reason is that I've been fascinated by space ever since I was little. I watched the Apollo missions in awe, and I caught that tech bug very early. And some of you may know, and as Tom has just mentioned, I began my career more than 30 years ago as a US government official in the Commerce Department. And international satellite communications were part of my portfolio back then. And of course, back then, satellites were largely in the domain of governments. I remember well the efforts of PanAmSat pushing for more competition, as well as the early filings, which were big filings, and it was paper at the time, the filings of Iridium, Teledesic, and many others. ITU's role in space and in the satellite industry stretches back even further. We began allocating radio frequency spectrum for space activity more than 60 years ago, not long after Sputnik 1 was launched in 1957. Even part of the moon is protected from radio frequency interference thanks to a visionary ITU decision back in 1971. Back then, it probably sounded like something out of a sci-fi movie. And yet, 5 decades later and 77 successful lunar missions later, the ITU maintained radio regulations continue to safeguard that lunar zone for radio astronomy, for critical space research, and for humanity's return to the moon that's just on the horizon. Still, the satellite industry has changed much since those Sputnik days, and space is more accessible than ever before, and it's no longer dominated by government agencies alone. Hundreds of private companies are developing space projects, and operators from 91 countries have put satellites in orbit in just over the past 2 decades, propelling from niche applications to critical global infrastructure, especially for broadband connectivity. We are now looking at a whopping 7 billion satellite-enabled smartphones in use around the world. Quite incredible. And as devastating climate disasters become more frequent, satellites are contributing to UN initiatives like the Early Warning for All initiative, which aims to protect everyone on Earth with an early warning system by 2027. And I'm very proud that the ITU leads an important pillar in that initiative, which is focused on communications and dissemination of information. And this involves making sure that alerts and warnings reach everyone, especially those communities that are at risk. Our common alerting protocol, known as CAP, enables us to be able to scale dissemination warnings through a multiple range of communication channels, and of course that includes satellite direct broadcast. And of course satellites are key when it comes to detection, when it comes to monitoring, analysis, and forecasting of hazards. In fact, at least 40% of the UN Sustainable Development Goals actually rely on Earth observation, on remote sensing, and on global navigation satellite systems. So I just returned, I was in Italy last week and just coming back from the G7. It was the digital ministerial that was held last week. And an important takeaway was based on their outcome linked to space and satellite communications. They recognize by consensus the vital importance of satellite constellations, highlighting their ability to advance ecosystem resilience, underscoring resilience, which is such a big issue these days. So ecosystem resilience while providing essential services, including global uninterrupted broadband connectivity. Now, with all these opportunities comes a great deal of complexity, as we were just discussing, Tom. A great deal of complexity and no shortage of challenges. I would say chief among them is the long-term sustainability of spectrum and orbital resources, which requires, of course, careful coordination and management for this industry and the entire global economy to be able to function. And I think that's exactly where the important role of the ITU comes in. The entire space ecosystem is underpinned by ITU standards and regulations. We're responsible for coordinating radio frequency spectrum on Earth and in space, and we help coordinate positions in geostationary orbits. This, of course, is done through an international treaty that ultimately secures your investments by seeking to prevent and eliminate harmful interference between radio systems. Tom also just mentioned the recent World Radio Communications Conference, and I'm sure many of you were also with us in Dubai. I want to recognize as well that I'm joined today by our Radio Communications Director, Mario Manjevich, who played an incredible role. Mario played a critical role in ensuring a very successful WRC, I would say, in particular for this industry. I think the outcomes of that WRC positively impact how satellite business is conducted globally. There were a couple of key WRC decisions that I wanted to highlight. The allocation of more spectrum to space services, additional protections for space research and Earth exploration, a more stable and transparent regulatory framework for space services, and also forward-looking studies that include inter-satellite links and low-orbiting constellations, lunar communications, and other novel applications. And just before the WRC 23, we held the Radio Communications Assembly, and that assembly adopted a very important resolution on ITU's role in space sustainability. We've already begun to collect disposal strategies and methodologies for non-geostationary satellites, and we have set up a dedicated portal where we will be sharing the information that we are collecting. Satellite operators, manufacturers, launch providers, and other space stakeholders are all encouraged to share their deorbit strategies and plans so that they can be then considered in the context of the ITU study groups. The World Radio Communication Conference delegates also agreed on the important agenda for 2027, and the work has already begun. And I'm excited to tell you that more than 80%, I think it's 85% to be precise, of the agenda is actually space related. So again, this is an incredible opportunity, I think, for all of you to get engaged now as we work towards 2027. Of those important agenda items includes this visionary new agenda item that will help to establish the first generation of lunar communications, and another that will help to pave the way for something we've heard throughout these corridors over the past 3 days, and that is the direct-to-device market. It goes to show that international cooperation and space communications is more important than ever before, whether it's for multinational or commercial missions. And of course, the ITU is here to support that and further that every single day. So, ladies and gentlemen, the space economy is now worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and I would say thanks to your part and your incredible ingenuity, your adaptability, and also your resilience. But as this industry advances at the speed of light, digital inclusion is inching forward at a snail's pace. Even with thousands of satellites orbiting overhead, 2.6 billion people are still unconnected. And the digital divide remains one of the biggest challenges of our time. And it's right up there with climate change and environmental sustainability. But I'm optimistic because I know that there's so much that this industry can offer to help close those divides. And I think that together we can make our shared space environment more sustainable while connecting the third of humanity that remains offline. That's why I'm calling on this industry, the satellite industry, to join us in the Partner to Connect Digital Coalition. It's a groundbreaking, multi-stakeholder, ITU-led initiative that seeks to connect the hardest to connect. So far, we have mobilized some $46 billion in commitments. At Mobile World Congress just a few weeks ago in Barcelona, we announced $9 billion in additional commitments from the mobile industry, which brought us closer to our halfway mark. Our target is to get to $100 billion by 2026. But of course, we can't reach that goal without you. And sometimes, as you know, satellite broadband is the only option to get to those hardest to connect, to get to the rural and to get to the remote communities. ITU is the satellite industry's UN partner, and we're here to support our members with frequency management, with capacity development, and with the technical studies and standards that are defining the future of space communications. I do hope that you will join us in our mission to connect the unconnected and to bring the benefits of digital transformation to everyone and to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Because not even the sky is the limit to what we can achieve together. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So much, Secretary General. I appreciate it. Thank you. Once again, thank you so much, Secretary General, for that speech and for being with us here this afternoon, and to Tom Strout and our partners at SIA for your support. Thank you all so much. We now move into our exciting awards program, leading off with the presentation of the Grand Prize for Satellite 2024's Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Contest. It took place yesterday at the opening of our exhibit hall. 10 incredible entrepreneurs representing 10 exciting new businesses engaged in a Shark Tank-style business pitch battle for a prize that includes guaranteed pitch meetings with more than a half dozen top space investment firms, a guaranteed invite to World Satellite Business Week's pitch competition in Paris this September, interviews in via satellite, and on Guide Force's podcasts, and more. To get an idea of what Startup Space is all about, I'd like to share this video, which we will play now. So Startup Space really is a rock star event. This year was no different. It was close, but the scores have been added up, and a decision has been made on the winner. Presenting the grand prize winner is our Startup Space contest director, Rafferty Jackson of Jack Industries. Rafferty first joined technology startups in 1997, working with Microsoft's Web TV networks, Macromedia, and Ubiquity Software Corporation, later purchased by Avaya. In 2014, she made a name for herself on the executive leadership team at Beats by Dr. Dre, maker of iconic headphones, speakers, and the Beats Music service, with a historic $3 billion sale to Apple. Just a few years after that, at a chance meeting in Seattle, Rafferty very, 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 very generously invested her energy, enthusiasm, and support into our Startup Space competition, has been an incredible partner ever since. So please join me in welcoming Rafferty Jackson for the reveal of our winner this year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yesterday was a packed house. Again, standing room only at the 8th annual Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Competition. We had 10 amazing startups: Space Technology, Arcasys, Pale Blue, In Orbit Aerospace, Eldoria, TrustPoint, Little Place Labs, Unio Enterprise, Planewave, Obruta Space Systems. They pitched to an esteemed panel of venture capitalists. We haven't added up the money, but I think we had a total near $1 billion in capital deployed between our 10 funds. AIN Ventures, E2MC Ventures, Lockheed Martin Ventures, Stellar Ventures, DCVC, Seraphim Capital, Promise Ventures, OpAmp Capital, Mac Ventures, and Starbridge Ventures. A special thank you to Caleb Williams of Quilty Space. He is the go-to guy for the business and finance of space. He helps each of the competitors with their pitch, and he makes that competition run so smoothly. Another special thank you to GuideForce for hosting the winner this year on an episode of the Startup Leader Show. And finally, thank you to Jeffrey Hill. He developed this idea, and he has supported it from the beginning. And we are indebted because Startup Space has become the entry point to come into this industry. Astroscale, Leo Labs, Orbit Fab. Those are just a few of our alumni competitors that are now market changers. Startup Space also offers leaders an opportunity to compete, not against each other, but against themselves, to turn inward and to face the obstacle of telling their story of the future to this revered industry. That skill will serve them every day as they develop their enterprises. 2025 applications are open this summer. We ask everyone, forward it to everybody that is related anywhere in the world to space startups. Universities, accelerators, funds, everybody. We are trying to get the best global companies in the world to come on our stage. And finally, please visit the Startup Pavilion. You are seeing the future there. Introduce yourself. Make connections. Ask hard questions. Give them a little bit of your time. Tell them about your experience, what you've run into, and how they can avoid it, and how they too can win and join this industry. So with that, we would now like to welcome to the stage the winner of the 2024 Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Competition, TrustPoint. Congratulations. You're on the X.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Rafferty. Really appreciate it. My co-founder, Patrick, had the honor of giving the pitch, practicing it, perfecting it. I got to come here and eat food and receive an award, so it's about an even split, I think. I've been coming to Satellite for many years. The event is very much a representation of the industry and the way the industry evolves. Year after year, I see more small companies, more startups, more innovation. I'm encouraged by the big ideas and the big visions I see here. And the fact that small companies are given the opportunity to succeed in this industry is tremendous. As TrustPoint builds and deploys the world's most capable, the world's most trusted PNT solution, on behalf of our incredible team, we're honored to be recognized as part of the innovation happening here, and really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And now, to present the next award, Via Satellite's Senior Managing Editor, Rachel Jewett.
The satellite industry is driven by technology, whether it's in orbit, on the ground, or the software. The Via Satellite Technology of the Year Award recognizes technology achievements in the satellite sector and the people behind those developments. This award recognizes scientific breakthroughs, disruptors, and capabilities that have the potential to save lives. This award began in 2018 and has recognized technology achievements like Apple's emergency messaging via satellite and Northrop Grumman's first mission extension vehicle. Here are the 5 nominees for the 2023 Via Satellite Technology of the Year Award.
Spacetime. Illyria. The Spacetime Network orchestration software by Illyria works to enable the networks of the future by seamlessly and efficiently connecting different elements of the satellite ecosystem across fixed and mobile platforms in the air, on land, and in the sea. Spectra Tasking and Analytics Platform, BlackSky. Every day, BlackSky delivers thousands of images and analytic products with its Spectra Tasking and Analytics Platform, demonstrating the company's investment in its software capabilities to make satellite imagery and insights more accessible to customers. 3GPP NTN standards, GSOA, ESA, EchoStar, Thales, Inmarsat, Intelsat, and individual contributors. Over the past several years, the satellite industry has engaged with the mobile industry and stakeholders at 3GPP to ensure that satellite technologies can be fully integrated into the 5G ecosystem. These efforts have resulted in a major breakthrough, the successful expansion of 3GPP standards to incorporate non-terrestrial networks starting with Release 17. Victus Nox Responsive Launch Demonstration, Firefly Aerospace. In September 2023, Firefly Aerospace set a new record for responsive space launch, successfully launching its Alpha rocket and deploying the Victus Nox spacecraft within a 24-hour notice period in a mission for the U.S. Space Force Space Systems Command. Communication Signal Interference Removal, CISR, iDirect Government. Communication signal interference removal technology from iDirect Gov aims to mitigate interference and jamming in satellite communications to meet the specialized needs of the U.S. Department of Defense, protecting mission-critical SATCOM by countering, terminating, and avoiding jamming and cyber threats.
And the award for Via Satellite Technology of the Year 2023 goes to 3GPP NTN standards, GSOA, ESA, EchoStar, Thales, Inmarsat, Intelsat, and individual contributors.
you, everybody. This is very much like the Oscars, but just a different version. So, we are thrilled to be here with Antonio. This is only my second satellite, so, to be up here and getting this award in the name of our industry and ESA, I think is fantastic. We've worked relentlessly to be integrated into 5G, 6G as satellite-based systems with our members as well. I come from the mobile industry, and to see both our industries getting together, we signed recently an agreement, cooperation agreement with GSMA at Mobile World Congress, and recently with Antonio as well for the European Space Agency. So this is really an award that is, fantastic. We are so grateful. And for me personally, really, I do believe that the convergence of the mobile and the satellite industry will help and connect the 2.6 billion that the Secretary General of the ITU just mentioned. So thank you so much, and I'll hand over to Antonio.
Thank you very much, Isabel. Thank you, Viasat. Thank you all here. This is a fantastic achievement of the space sector today. I'm really proud on behalf of the European Space Agency to accept this award on behalf of the entire space community. This is just the beginning. Release 17 is the beginning. We look forward to continue the standardization, the convergence between terrestrial and satellite world, TN and NTN. And our collaboration, GSOA, EASA, and GSMA is a testament to our commitment to achieve that. So yesterday we talked panel about profiling the path to 6G, and here is where everything happens. So we look forward to continue to promote the standards to achieve global interoperable TN and TN standard from 5G to 6G. Thank you very much, everyone. Collectively, individually, I know how much effort has been going the last few years into this great achievement, and we hope we'll continue to do that. From ESA, you have the commitment that the European Space Agency will continue to support global standards and put all effort to unify the space sector. Thank you very much.
And in the excitement, I forgot to thank our members, EchoStar, who are part of this achievement, Intelsat, Inmarsat, Thales, and of course, ESA. So thank you so much. Is that where is it?
Presenting the final award, Via Satellite's Senior Editorial Director, Mark Holmes.
Thank you. How's everyone doing? You all doing good? A big congratulations to our Satellite Technology of the Year award winners. Super well deserved. I'm going to go slightly off script for a minute. It's always a bit dangerous before we get to the Satellite Executive of the Year award. Rachel, who's our senior managing editor, it's actually her birthday today. So I think we need to give her a really big round of applause. She does an amazing job for Via Satellite. Thankfully, you're not going to hear me sing happy birthday. So it's great to be here. We now come to announcing the winner of our prestigious Satellite Executive of the Year award. Here are the nominees for the 2023 Satellite Executive of the Year.
Chris Kubasik, CEO of L3 Harris. Under the leadership of CEO Chris Kubasik, L3 Harris is realizing its strategy to be a trusted disruptor as a prime contractor. In recent years, the space business at L3 Harris has transformed from a payload provider to a prime contractor, moving up the value chain to full space vehicle integration. Eva Bernicki, CEO of Eutelsat Group. Eva Bernicki showed decisive and courageous leadership after taking the helm at Eutelsat by acquiring low Earth orbit operator OneWeb. The merger, which closed in September, makes Eutelsat Group the first combined GEO and LEO satellite operator. Kathy Warden, CEO of Northrop Grumman. In the 5 years that Kathy Warden has served as CEO and president of Northrop Grumman, the company has doubled its space business. After Warden led the integration of orbital ATK and reorganized company segments, space has been on a double-digit growth streak, and it is now the company's fastest-growing and largest segment. Mike Greenlee, CEO of MDA. In August, MDA won the largest contract in the company's history, a $2 billion contract from Telesat to build the Lightspeed LEO constellation. The deal, which MDA won in a manufacturer swap, instantly raised the profile of MDA CEO Mike Greenley. Peter Beck, CEO of Rocket Lab. Over the past few years, Peter Beck has transformed Rocket Lab from a small sat launcher to an end-to-end space company, with success in both its launch and space systems business. In 2023, the company hit a new record of 10 annual launches and received its first award as prime contractor to the U.S. Department of Defense. Stuart Doftridge, chairman of the Diffie Consortium. Over the past few years, the work of the Diffie Consortium, led by Chairman Stuart Doftridge, has had significant impact allocating for interoperability between satellite and ground system networks. There are now almost 60 organizations that are members of Diffie, showing Doftridge's leadership to build consensus in the industry.
Before we announce the winner, there's such a tremendous set of nominees. Let's give a big round of applause to all the nominees. But there can only be one winner, and the winner is Mike Greenley, MDA.
Well, that's pretty fun. I agree with the comment earlier about it being like the Grammys or the Oscars or something. That's kind of a neat moment. I don't think I've ever had an award like that. It's kind of fun. It's been a busy few years at MDA Space the last 4 years. 4 years ago, we stood up on our own as an independent company once again and took off on a growth track. It's been a great adventure. 3 years ago, we did an initial public offering. And since that time, we've been really cranking. We've doubled in size over the last 2 or 3 years. We completed what we call our first double. So now we're doing our next double as the space market continues to expand, and we get to be part of that. So it's a really exciting adventure. And this year, as we cross $1 billion in revenue, it's an exciting milestone for the 3,000 people that now work for MDA Space. So it's a very exciting time. As a CEO, you don't get to do a lot of things. You kind of get to do 3 things. You make very small number of often very important strategic decisions, hopefully. You get to put smart people in their jobs and give them the space and encouragement and support their development. And you get to approve spending of money to those smart people to be able to invest in things and be able to grow their business. I don't think I got this recognition for doing those 3 things super well. I think that this is a recognition of MDA Space and what we've gone through in the last 4 years with all that growth and the position that we're starting to fill within the space community, which is awesome and exciting. And it's recognition of Luigi Pozzebon and the satellite systems team, specifically in terms of this award, and the tremendous growth that we're going through right now. We've made great investments in the company. One of them is in MDA Aurora, our new digital satellite product that we launched this week. And Luigi and his team are taking this new digital satellite product to the market, and we really like working with you all on that as we start to support more and more constellations. So I'm very happy to accept this award in recognition of all their efforts, because that's what's really being recognized here. Thanks very much.
So before we go, I just want to say a few thank yous, starting with the amazing team at Access Intelligence who have helped put on this awards lunch. I would like to thank every single person that voted in the awards, all the nominees, and each of you that came today. I would like to congratulate all the winners once again. The competition gets tougher with every passing year. To win these awards is a huge achievement. One of the goals of Via Satellite is to become the community publication of the satellite industry. Thanks to these awards, as well as initiatives like 10 Hottest Companies in Satellite and Celebrating Women in Satellite, we are able to bring this diverse, wonderful community together and highlight many people, companies, and stories you would perhaps not have heard of otherwise. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of Satellite 2024.